Oh, is this an updated? Is that why there's two? Okay.
He's in charge today.
Are the other ones? Or
You can't say it in front of them, don't say it in front of them.
Just wait to see if you're worthy to pick up Thor's hammer there.
Depends on how loud you want it to be.
No, I don't know. Couple things.
Must be spring.
Rick James. Yeah.
I got in trouble once for starting too early.
We talked about a couple of those joints.
There was something, I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, there was one drain I think they talked about that doesn't actually come into DeKalb County, but it was part of our watershed.
Somebody from.
Like we were in the watershed, which is weird.
It was a weird thing that we had to have.
Just can't have more than one tile.
Yeah, yeah.
As it is the appointed time for the DeKalb County Regular Drainage Board meeting of March 19th, 2026, we will start the meeting with the approval of the minutes of February 19th. I would so have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. Is there other questions or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have the approval of the March attorney claims. The attorney of $1,295. I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the attorney claim as presented. Is there any questions or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Number 3, utility permits. First one is, or the only, I think the only one is AES, County Road 40A and County Road 39. We have someone representing.
John Hunt, I'm the outside plant manager for AES. We're building communications infrastructure down 40A and then up 39. And we have to cross under, I think it's 3 drains and then 1 drain twice on the north and south side of the road.
Okay.
Which one is it you're crossing twice?
I think it's the Cliff Metcalf. It goes, we have to go down to hit a house, so we have to cross another street. Yeah, it's that one.
That one, yeah. Okay, so it drops and then goes back to the.
Yeah, you see our, yeah, we're going.
There we go.
And we'll, I'll meet you guys out there too and make sure we're doing it right.
Yeah, and then the other one's the open ditch, right? Isn't there a third one that's that open ditch to the north? Yeah.
Right, yep.
Do we have a recommendation or not from the surveyor?
Yeah, favorable.
Does any member of the board have a question or comment? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to accept or reject the utility permits as presented.
Make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the utility permits as presented from AES with the surveyor in agreement with it for Union Township, sections 22, 23, 26, and 27, with the Cliff Metcalf regulated tile drain number 83-20-0, and the Cliff Metcalf lateral 1 regulated tile number 83-21-0, and the Philip Riggs West regulated drain number 21-90-0. Is there any other questions or discussion? Anyone from the public? Hearing no one, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Appreciate. The next one is ILP Brandenburg Livestock Cattle Barn, 3975 State Road 8. Is there a representative here? Please state your name and address.
John Brandenburger, and my address is 4993 County Road 41, Auburn, Indiana, 46706. And we're putting up a barn and going to have some livestock in it. And just, I guess, making sure we're doing everything right as far as drainage plan goes. So,
Okay, thank you, sir. Just hang on for a second in case somebody has a question. Do we have a surveyor's report?
Yep, so they're wanting to build an 18,600 square foot building on 72-acre tract. It will be located near the highest elevation along the easterly portion of the property, as shown there. And then there's a low spot kind of to the southwest that most everything will drain to. Well, there's two of them. It's kind of, there's a spot here down in that corner. But the post-development drainage patterns will be roughly the same as the pre-development. The maximum stormwater runoff there's two watersheds. The building will be located within the existing 6.4-acre watershed. But the maximum pre-development for 100-year is 24.19 CFS, and the maximum post is 25.77. Across the two. Fine as long as it stays that big of a parcel. If it ever got replatted, there'd probably be some stricter drainage requirements. Parcel got shrunk.
You've heard the surveyor's report with a favorable recommendation. Is there a motion to accept this as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any other questions or concerns from board members? Anyone from the audience? I have a quick question. Does this barn have a lagoon?
yeah, a concrete coating area, yeah.
What's that?
It's going to have concrete out the back of it for a holding area.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, sir. We have an addition to our agenda this morning for Graber Chicken Barn at 7134 County Road 61. Is there somebody here to represent that?
Morning, Josh Flash, West Land Surveying. You see the proposed barn on the property. We do have some proposed stone, 2 driveways, stone turnaround. If you currently look at the property, some of the water slope to the north and some slope to the south. There's an unregulated open ditch to the south there. see yes, that's the unregulated drain. So what my client has done and advised them to do, we're running all the water to the north. We're taking all the downspouts, running downspouts along the barn to the center to an inlet, and then we're going to daylight it on the north side of the hill. And then what we propose to do is just do a 2-foot earthen mound on the northwest corner of the property. That's where the lowest point of the property is, where it flows onto other surrounding properties. And what we're doing is just going to build an earthen mound to hold that water back and release it through a 12-inch pipe, but we do have a proposed 6-inch orifice plate to reduce that speed down. I can provide a detail. This was very last minute. He came in this week and changed a bunch of stuff finally. He came to my office, and so I can provide some better details and better calculations for detention and for a detail for the outlet for that detention basin. But basically, it's just keeping the natural grade of the ground. We just built an earthen mound up, and we want to daylight the water from the roof drains to that low area. I can make sure that Q that we're releasing from that detention basin is matches pre-developed. But I don't see an issue with it. We can reduce it significantly with a plate or something. Just need to make sure it never gets clogged up.
I actually worked with Josh on this one. Before the earthen dam with the 6-inch orifice, they were pretty close on matching pre and post. I think it was like 2.2 CFS or something off. So now they should be matching pretty good now. Especially with, before they didn't have any downspouts or gutters or any drainage system, it was just gonna kind of sheet flow off. There's 2 separate watersheds on that property that kind of split from the north to the south. So now they can route everything up to the north through that little retention got built there. So worked pretty good.
Thank you, sir. So that's a favorable recommendation.
Yeah.
You don't need additional information.
Not since he just gave us this new drawing here now to get everything matching post to pre. Before they didn't have any, wasn't any downspouts and for infrastructure.
I would entertain a motion to accept for the surveyor's recommendation.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the Graber Chicken Barn located at 7134 County Road 61 as presented. Is there any other questions or concerns?
You guys have had enough time to go over these new plans? Glenn?
Yeah.
You're good?
Yeah, he sent Tuesday.
How many acres is this located on?
Like 12.46.
What is it?
I think it was 12.46, yep. The north watershed was
12.46.
12?
Yeah, the north watershed was 5.46 and the other one was 6.997.
Hearing none, we have a motion and a second to accept the Graber Chicken Barn located at 7134 County Road 61, parcel number 11-11-34-300-004 at Spencerville, Indiana, Spencer Township, Section 34 as presented. Is there any more questions or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Number 5, replats. Palumbo Acres, Lot 1. I hope I said that right.
Hi, Angie with Compass Land Surveying. We are just taking Lot 1 and divided into 2 additional building sites. So the middle one is already the existing residence, so then we created a 8.91 acres on the north and then 4.75 acre on the south of it. And then the remainder, the piece that's existing, the home, that's 15.58 acres.
We have, county tile actually going through all the lots. For any drainage we need. Pretty short run. I don't, as far as I know, there's not any issues with it. Yeah. Still, yeah, 4.75.
You've heard the approval recommendation by the surveyor. Do we have a motion for the Colombo Acres, Lot 1, located at 6644 County Road 27, Auburn, Indiana, Jackson Township, Section 30, involving the James Ferguson Drain Number 86-00-0, the James Ferguson Warner Lateral Drain Number 86-53-0, and Cedar Creek Drain Number 470-00-0. Is there a motion to accept this as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the replat as presented. Any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We have a minor subdivisions of Sunrise Acres. Is there someone to represent that?
James Schmucker here, representing Marvin Gerber, Sunrise Acres. It's a 22 acres replat. It's parceled off of, I think, 38 acres. Looking to build a single-family residential home on the site.
Did you say 2 residential?
Just one.
Just one.
Single-family, yeah.
Okay. Do we have a surveyor report?
Yeah, it's 22 acres there. You got a driveway permit and everything, and there's a pond on site too with adequate drainage that's between the neighboring. Was that whole parcel part of the south lot?
Yes.
That's what, okay.
Yes. I'm current owner of the south lot, so he will have access to the south lot if he needs to go anywhere with the drain.
You've heard the affirmative recommendation from the surveyor. Is there a question? Is there a motion to accept the subdivision as presented for Sunrise Acres, parcel number 06-02-100-001, County Road 39, northwest quarter of the northwest corner of Jackson Township, Section 2, Marion Kramer Regulated Drain Number 78-00-0, and the Daniel Hershey Regulated Drain Number 48-00-0 as presented.
So move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the minor subdivision as presented with the surveyor recommendation. Are there any other questions or concerns? Anyone from the audience? Hearing no one, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have the next one, Eckhorn Place, 5465 State Road 1, St. Joe.
So this was an existing parcel. The landowner had called to maybe pull a permit to build when he purchased the property. Talking with the plan department, they told him he one lot minor sub. So soil borings have been placed on the upper northwest part of that back track. There is an existing drive going back. But as you can see on the survey, there is a regulated tile and 75-foot associated easement with that property. Depending where he wants to build, I imagine if his septic is up in that corner, that he's wanting to build on the west side of that tile. I don't know, I honestly don't know where he wants to put a house at, but he'll have, if he ever builds a barn or anything, he has to be very careful or to put the placement of that building.
Good to us. Another nice big parcel with running right through it.
You've heard the recommendation for Ekhorn, is that how you say it? Ekhorn?
Yeah,
Eichhorn,
I call him Icorn, but
Eichhorn Place, 5465 State Road 1, St. Joe, Indiana, Concord Township, Section 11, parcel number 02-11-11-100-014. What's the regulated drain? William Seckler, number
195.
195-00-00. Is there a motion to accept?
Just want to interrupt. I love how you guys overlay our plats on an aerial.
Makes it so much easier.
Oh, gosh, that's cool. I've only seen it here, so. Thanks, Troy.
Good job, Troy.
So moved.
Is there a second? We have a motion and a second to accept Eichhorn Place as presented. Is there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Guys will stay up though. He's got the next, he's gonna finish us out.
Oh.
Been a busy month.
The next item is M&D Farms, County Road 75, Spencerville, Indiana. What do we have here, sir?
So this actually went to auction and sold in like 4 or 5 tracks, and one of the landowners came in and at that time wants to plan for 2 residential homes in the future. So he proposed two lots off his track, and what you see proposed, that's what we have there. Soil borings are on the property, you can see those as well. I'm not too sure if I locate, is there a legal drain on this property? Okay, that makes me feel better. I was like, wow, I missed that. So yeah, so it's kind of a challenging field. There are some drainage, natural drainage swells through the property, through the field, but pretty typical of our farmland around DeKalb County.
Do we have a report from the surveyor?
Yeah, there is, they're not regulated drains, but there is some really big drainage swales through these properties. Don't even know where they end up. They end up crossing the road, going south somewhere, but they're not regulated. Both the parcels are very big parcels. I think the smallest one was 7. The other one 22 maybe? Or 22 acres total. Yeah, 22 total. They both have road access or driveways, so yeah, 15 and 7. I mean, I don't see any issue with them.
The nice thing is, a lot of times, it's a field right now, so the coefficient for runoff is much quicker than it's turned into yard, grass. That will
heard the recommendation from the surveyor. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there- We have a motion and a second to accept the application by M&D Farms, County Road 75, parcel number 08-12-29-300-009 at Spencerville, Indiana, Newville Township, Section 29, with no regulated drains, correct? As presented, are there any questions or concerns? Anyone from the audience? Hearing no one. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next, Mauricio.
That's what, sounds good.
Mauricio Estate on County Road 55, Spencerville, Indiana.
So this was, property was sold, and the new buyers wanted to build a residential home on the property. So we're here for the one-lot minor plating process. There is a open regulated drain on the south side of the property. That is the shared boundary line between the two landowners. So that, and then you can also see with that project, or with that drain, there's a 75-foot easement shown on the plat. So the new client will have to be careful not to interfere with that. His soil borings are the northeast corner of the property, so I do know his asking for the driveway is located, there's an existing drive there he'd still like to utilize, and that might be near that easement, so he might have to work with the county surveyor's office to make sure, and the highway department to make sure everybody's good with that location. It's an existing farm drive.
Yeah, it's shown down, it is within the
Yeah.
right of entry.
Do we have a surveyor report then?
Yep, it's 4 acres, literally borders the George Wade. So, I mean, they have more than adequate drainage for their septic and whatever else they need, downspouts, and easy one, really. On the other side, it looks like that's right where the train tracks are. Flooding your neighboring roads.
You've heard the recommendation from the surveyor for Mauricio Estates, County Road 55, parcel number 11-20-200-013, Spencerville, Indiana, Spencer Township, Section 20, with the George Wade regulated drain number 31-00-0. I would entertain a motion to accept if present. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the estate as, or the parcel as presented. Is there any other questions or comments? Anyone from the audience? Hearing no one. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yes, communications. Yes, sir. Pardon me? Okay.
So we've got a job.
Could you give your name, please?
Sorry, Chad Trowbridge. Well, there's a job along County Road 24 crossing a regulated drain. Permit is supposed to be submitted. Have that yet? I'm at the wrong meeting.
Sorry.
You're fine.
What were you doing?
We've got a job rebuilding or redoing some conductor along County Road 24. That crosses over, that is W.A. Daniels drain, 174-00-0.
I don't know, for whatever reason, we don't have it. Did one of us get in contact with you to come to this meeting, or? You don't know, you just doing what you were told?
It's my coworker's job.
Okay.
We've done a few with you guys.
Sure.
So they know someone needed to be here at the meeting, and I was told there was a meeting today. So, I will speak to
Interesting.
my coworker and see if I can figure out what's going on with that.
Yeah, just make sure that it gets routed through our office, and then,
Yeah.
then we'll get a hold of you guys and get you scheduled to be on it, so
Yep. Okay.
we're familiar with the project. But-
Okay.
Okay?
Sounds like you're in the right spot.
Thank you, Ted.
Hey, you're in the right spot for crossing a drain, though. Yeah, that's us, but.
Yeah, I've been to a few of these.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else? There is no one else for guest communication. We can move on to the surveyor's report.
I have a couple things to bring up. First one, we'll do the easier one first. First one, I had asked Shannon about if a bridge is existing, crossing drain prior to drainage law in 1965, right? Okay. If a bridge existed and then is replaced by a new bridge, are they required to come get a variance approval, right? In this case, we're talking about the Indian Springs Bridge. Probably some of you were on the board dealing with that back then. Yeah, right there. So there was a bridge that was already crossing, and it deteriorated to where it wasn't usable. So then they removed that bridge and installed a new bridge. The old bridge was there prior to drainage code. They installed a new bridge. There was a whole bunch of back and forth during all that time. I think I came in kind of in the middle of all of that. We never had them go through the variance process. So Chris Gomer from Developmental Services contacted me asking if we had a variance on file for the new bridge, because there was some sort of issues developing with the new bridge. But we didn't require them to get a variance because there was already a bridge existing. So I guess this is me asking the board for direction on if we want to require a variance when an existing bridge with no variance on file is replaced, or is that kind of the landowner's right to access back there, right? Because like say this bridge came for a variance approval and we didn't give it to them, it probably creates some other issues to where they can no longer access all of their property back there. So I don't really know where that starts and stops on the legality side, or what we want to do with that.
I told Tyler to bring it here because I could actually see both ways of it. If it's already grandfathered in pre-code and they don't do something drastically different with the new bridge, technically, I'm not sure what rights the board would have to say you have to take it out if it's already kind of grandfathered in there. However, if you wanted to make sure that in the future, this variance shows up on all survey, the recorder's office and all of that, you could make the landowner go through that process to say, look, we need an official record of this now. I mean, you've replaced it, we just needed to have an official record. That is a reason maybe to have him come in and do a variance.
How many bridges do we have in the county that have this issue?
Yeah.
There's any
crossover.
number.
Hmm?
There's any number. I have one.
Yeah, there's probably a real substantial
Bridges
amount of like
/ crossings.
any crossings. Yeah, it couldn't be old farm culvert crossings on fields that did go through our ditch that were just, that's how it's always been done to cross to another part of property that they own. And they just need updated, and we're gonna start seeing it more and more as these different crossings need updated because we're getting to that lifespan of those crossings, so.
Do you know if they contacted DNR and everything on that and had engineering blueprints drew up, or did they just pop a new one in there, kind of fly by night?
They had the DNR permits.
They did have the DNR
So,
permit?
yeah, so we didn't require a variance at the time because they had the DNR permits and we're like, okay, like, probably supersedes us on it because there's already an existing bridge or existing crossing, so, I don't know. Now I think there's some speculation that the bridge is sinking. that's what brings it all to attention. Oh,
On the other side, maybe we leave it alone, because maybe we don't want to bless a bridge there and be
yeah,
somehow responsible for,
yeah, I don't know.
I don't think it would, I
I don't feel like,
could write the variance so that we wouldn't be,
right,
but yeah.
If I remember right, that was really contentious because he was claiming that logs that we had cut floated downstream and took the bridge out.
Yeah,
The bridge was junk
yeah,
and high water.
yeah, he was trying to sue us, I think, for,
Threatened it,
yeah, us saying we
even though the
destroyed his bridge.
photography, aerial photography shows like big holes in the bridge for years. before
Yeah,
any
it was,
work.
yeah.
it was junk.
Yep, there was a lot of back and forth there, so that's, they got the new bridge in and we just kinda said, okay, and we made sure everything was, we went and inspected the site when they installed the new bridge to ensure that, at first they didn't have the erosion control established like they needed to, so we reached out to them, to get that all seeded and ensure that the bank wasn't washing away. And all that went well, working with them, so.
But
I don't know.
now the bridge is sinking.
Allegedly, I don't know, it's just what I
Is
hear.
that why Chris is involved?
That's how he's doing it.
Yeah, that's,
On the
yeah,
stand.
Chris is the one I talked to, and like, he called me asking about it, and said they're like, was a variance on file? I was like, well, we didn't make them get one, because they're, you know.
For the record, Tyler's saying it's sinking.
Oh, easy. So that's why it came up, back into discussion, because I think Chris is trying to look into it to ensure that we didn't approve something we shouldn't have, and in this case, we didn't, really, so it's.
And we didn't because it was pre-drainage code.
There was already a bridge existing to replace. It would be bothersome to me if at some point, maybe not this board or a board down the road, if somebody comes to replace an existing crossing and they say no for some reason, the potential of saying no to not allow them to cross and not have access to another part of the property is a little bit worrying, but hey, I don't make these decisions, you guys. That's for you guys, So if we need to think about, or whatever, if we need to have more discussion, or you need any more information, that's really fine. We want to wait till Bruce is here to decide something.
So what happens in this situation going down the road if that bridge continues to sink and becomes unsafe, unusable, whatever? Does this board have any recourse?
Well, I would say this, that anybody, even if they have a grandfathered pre-existing bridge, if it starts impacting the drainage of the drain or whatever, then you have the right, because I believe there is a code section about you can't damage a drain, you
Can
impede water. So if this thing, let's say, sinks 2 more feet, and now it's starting to impede the water flow, then I think the board has the ability to say, you have to fix this. Kind of like Bridgewater, right? Remember Bridgewater, they were gonna put in a shorter bridge, and then, but it wouldn't allow anybody to go under it, like to even inspect the bridge, so we had them, it might be before your time. There was something, I think Bill's probably the only one that might remember that. Yeah, I just remember that Mike, and maybe it was Mike, said you gotta have it higher than the existing one, because you're using it for more, or.
Isn't it the golf cart bridge?
Yes, yes.
Right there between.
Yeah.
So the board and the surveyor's office have the right to weigh in on, hey, this culvert is not big enough, or maybe pre-code it was size too small. You have to at least put in another 2 feet into it to make it per the standards we have now. I think, so there's some of that if things happen.
And a lot of that's the DNR as well now, though. If they gave them permits, they had to have turned in an engineering form, which is 25,000, 30,000. So I would say that's gotta go back on either the DNR or the engineering firm if something's sinking, unless they didn't.
We didn't design it, or,
Right.
I don't see how there's any way we could.
Allegedly.
It's alleged. I haven't taken measurements myself, but.
I mean, this might be a good one just to let it go. I don't know.
I think maybe bring it up with Bruce, see what Bruce's input is.
Yeah, I can put it on the list for the next meeting and we can talk about it again.
Refresh it with him.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely not something we have to have a final decision on today. We can take a couple meetings if we need. Okay, that was the easy one. The next one, again, probably the same situation where I may take a couple meetings here for discussion. Our not on maintenance project on these drains. So remember last time we talked about the Ed Haynes laterals, kind of up around County Road 34 down to State Road 8-ish. There was the Ed Haynes lateral 1, lateral 2, and lateral 4 that are all not on maintenance. They all come off of the Frank Yard, which is a little weird that they're called the Ed Haynes laterals. So looked back into that of how that even became. In 2004 or 5, that the State Road 8 North, the Frank Yard was called the Ed Haynes. It was the Ed Haynes drain. And in whenever that was, 2004 or 5, we had a joint meeting with Noble. Maybe Shannon, you remember this. We had a joint meeting with Noble, and it became, the Ed Haynes became the Frank Yard. So they did a combination hearing to combine it to the Frank Yard. There was a lot of pushback, especially from residents in Noble County, because it was on maintenance already in Noble County, but it was not on maintenance in DeKalb County. So that Ed Haynes, which is now the Frank Yard north of State Road 8, was not on maintenance. Same with all of its laterals. So it obviously needed to be placed on maintenance because there was a lot of brush and clear that needed to be done. So as part of getting, I think, the board to agree to all of that, when it was established as on maintenance, it was put in the hearing that the money would only go to the Ed Haynes, which is combined to the Frank Yard. So the money would only go to the Frank Yard main. None of its tributaries would be funded from that account. So all of those Ed Haynes lateral, what are they? There's 10 of them, I think, as a result of that hearing. Yes, 10 of them. There's 6 Ed Haynes laterals. There's the lung lateral, which we already did a hearing on. The Elmer Dittmer. There's 2 Frank Stingray laterals that were all, so all 10 of those were a part of being left out of that combination. So, and the more we look into it, the more that this case just repeats itself on other mains, to where something happened with the main and they left the laterals out of it, and that's how they all ended up becoming not on maintenance. Because that was my question from the very start, was why do we have drains that aren't funded, and how does that really happen? So I figured out that's what happened. I think we need to set a precedence on what laterals will be funded from a parent drain, and what stipulates that a lateral has its own account and it's funded on its own account. Because we have situations throughout the county where the laterals are funded from the parent, and it's not a problem. It's considered on maintenance. It's just funded out of the parent drain. And then we have other situations like this where they're left off. So maybe we look at if there's like a certain size of watershed for a lateral that we say, if it's over a certain size, that it must have its own account. And if it's below the certain size, it can be funded off of the parent drain. Another one so while I'm looking at this at Haynes, we also simultaneously have a John Deal issue. You can go to County Road 32, Troy, just up northeast, or straight north of where you're, whoa. Keep going down left just a little bit. There, yep, the Y one, upside down Y, to your bottom left. There you go, right there, zoom in there. Okay, so this is, the John Deal lateral 1 is that open ditch that's going. That is a joint drain with Noble County. That is not on maintenance because it comes off of the John Deal. The John Deal is on maintenance. All of the laterals got left off, right? So if you look at our drain sheet, we have a ton of John Deal laterals and spurs, all not on maintenance because at some point, a similar thing happened here. So the John Deere lateral 1, that open ditch, is not on maintenance. So then the John Deere lateral one, spur one, which comes from the open ditch and goes south, is also not on maintenance. That drain is an absolute disaster. We got a call from Breckwell Farms, actually an email, about the south side of County Road 32 where you can kind of see the flooded spot. Go right below your cursor there, Troy, and zoom in. Right there. So you can see that flooded spot in the field. They called because that was flooded and it wasn't really going down after a couple days. So we did some investigation. The tile's not in great shape. There's a couple small holes that we can repair, but it goes to that wooded finger. Up there, you want to zoom in up there? Yeah, right there. And that's actually a really steep ravine. If you turn on the topos, it's a big valley that goes through those trees. Right where the tile enters that woods, it like turns into an open ditch. It's just like an overland flow through the bottom of the ravine, all the way to the north side, and then it overland flows across that field. Zoom in up on that top side. Yep, right up in there, Troy. So that tile, I don't even really know if it exists through there. It just overland flows through that bottom. You can kind of see where it winds, and it hits that open ditch. Could not find an outlet from that tile going into the open ditch at all. So it's a situation that's going to take quite a bit of funding to get it all where it needs to be. But it's not on maintenance, and it's kind of the drain it flows into is not on maintenance. But then the drain that flows into is on maintenance. So I don't know. I don't really know what we want to do, but I think that we probably have to come up with some sort of standards so it's not so subjective on here, there, every which way. And it would make my life a lot easier if I had some set standards on what we're working with on, rather than I'm constantly bringing you guys different laterals and spurs that are not on maintenance, and we decide this one's doing this, but this one's over this way. Let's do a joint meeting on this one, and it kind of gets to be a lot. So
my biggest recollection of that time is the one thing these two drains have in common is Noble County.
yes,
The only way that they could get the Frank Yard on maintenance with Noble County was to detach those, because Noble County said, we're not paying for these laterals in DeKalb County. They didn't feel like they got any benefit from it. So they'll say, that's why the main drain was put on maintenance and why they detached the rest.
yep,
That's what we're worried about too, is like if we use the main drain funding for laterals that aren't part of it, then people are gonna be like, well, I'm not paying for their laterals.
Exactly.
And then, but you know, if we do it different for each case, then we need to have some kind of uniform.
Well, one thing could be, is there a joint drain involved with another county? Because that's where we have a little less control over it if you have another county that needs to weigh in on whether or not the main drain is the only thing we're funding or not. That's one criteria that could help you pare it down a little bit. It's not gonna help you in these two situations because that's what happened, but.
Yeah, and we have a lot of drains, like even the George Mattson has a ton of laterals that have no counts, they're just not even a part of anything.
yeah, strange. And some of them are just all funded. Like we have some really big systems that are all of the laterals are just funded from the parent account.
I think like the Geo Metcalf's like
Yeah,
that.
yep. Metcalf is what I was gonna say. It's a really large drain that all the laterals are funded from the parent account. Which is, it's a huge watershed, so it brings in a lot of funding, so it just replenishes itself as people pay that and work on this ladder, and you keep the whole system working. It's a lot easier, because the smaller and smaller we make it, like if we put that lateral on its own account, it's gonna be so extremely expensive for the work that needs done. They're paying into the John Deere because technically that's all carrying their water to the John Deere, but now their water's not even really making it to the John Deere. So they're paying, it's just depends which way you look at it. So they're paying towards the John Deere, but they're flooding because their water can't make it to the John Deere.
They're not getting any benefit,
Right,
basically.
right, yep. So it's, I see both sides, and I don't know what the right answer is.
Yeah, and then other people in the John Deere will be like, well, I'm not paying for your water to get to the John Deere.
Yeah, it just becomes a lot of back and forth there.
Yeah.
But before I kept getting further down the rabbit hole of the non-maintenance drains, I wanted to see if we could talk about it, so everybody's aware of it at least. We can kind of bounce ideas around of what we think, what we like, we could do. If we want to talk about, like a price estimate for the laterals and what we think it would cost to maintain the lateral, you know, what's too expensive and what's not, right? If something's below a certain expense, we want to fund it out of the parent drain, and if it's going to be too expensive, then we got to establish its own account, or you want to go by watershed size, or whatever our metrics are. I think it would be good to have some sort of.
Am I right or wrong in thinking that if we could combine them, combine the laterals, the spurs, to a main drain, that makes sense if it fits the criteria for the combination in the code? I would assume that would be preferable.
Right, yeah, I think so, because, well, I think a lot of them are combined, right? Like the CO Metcalf that we talked about, it's a really big system, and all the laterals are funded because it's all part of the CO Metcalf, so it's no problem to take out the parent drain. But, like, in this case, when we made the Ed Haynes become the Frank Yard, we just left all those laterals out there. They're no longer a part of, like, that parent drain, so they just kind of got just left behind, which was good. We got the Frank Yard on maintenance because it needed a lot of work. It's just unfortunate that that's what we had to do to get it on maintenance. So, and I don't know if that's worth reviewing again with Noble County. Probably would be tough to ever get them to agree to that. But
Because the combination says that they have to be part of the same watershed. But again, how do you define watershed? Is the watershed the lateral, or is the watershed the Frank Yard?
right, because it's just subsheds just keep getting smaller. We could go pretty small with all of our sub watersheds, but yeah.
Because you couldn't have like a couple of those Ed Haynes combined and have their own like separate Ed Haynes lateral watershed that drains into the Frank Yard, right? Because are they connected?
Yeah, you
They
could.
connect to the Frank Yard.
Yeah.
So that you wouldn't be asking Noble County landowners to pay. You would just be asking the Ed Haynes people to pay their own drains there using the Frank Yard as this big outlet.
I was gonna say, they still pay the downstream the way we do billing, so
Yeah, so
it's flowing into there, they're paying the downstream portions of it. They're in those watersheds.
if we if we made that lateral its own account and its own watershed, then they would be paying into that one and
Right.
into
the John
the John Deere, both. But if we combined it, then they want it, they'd just be paying what they are now, and then the parent drain would be covering the cost of that lateral on top of what it's already covering.
When we have to you think we'd have to up it a little bit though, if we're gonna start,
I think if you started joining a
you'd have to up
bunch
it?
of them, I think, yeah, because
So, like this John Deere drain, most of its laterals are not on maintenance. It's not, for whatever reason, whatever happened back then, they all got left out. There's a substantial amount of money in the John Deere right now, like 200,000. So it's a huge watershed, but then all of a sudden we have all these laterals that are not on maintenance. So we have funding right now to where we could go fix that drain and get it working if we funded it out of our joint drain, the John Deere. But
The joint deal is or isn't a joint?
the John Deere is a joint drain, just the same as Frank Yard is a joint drain. Yep.
So, well, is the deal the joint, or is it the lateral? John Deere lateral that's the joint?
Sorry, yeah, you're right, Troy, I think. The John Deere lateral one is the joint drain.
Really? So that's a joint drain, but not the John Deere itself?
yeah.
Right.
Is that right?
They probably pay into the John Deere as a transport drain, but yeah, I think those are essentially two separate accounts. I'd have to look for sure, but I guess that's the question, because if the lateral one is the joint drain, but the main one isn't, then
Well, they may not have to pay any additional. Is that right? Noble County? Or not so much?
Well, they wouldn't have to probably pay any additional. It's just them accepting that they're going to be funding the rest of the tributaries in the system, right? I think that was the problem back like when they changed the Ed Haynes to the Frank Yard. Noble County, they just weren't happy that they're also gonna maintain all the Ed Haynes laterals. So they said, no, we're not gonna agree to it unless you have the stipulation that the money is only for the Frank Yard, none of the tributaries, none of the laterals. When really, probably the best way would have been to include the whole system, include the laterals. Maybe you have to charge a little bit higher drain expense than it is what it is, but then your whole system can actually be maintained like it's designed. Instead, we've went, I don't know, too long, 100 years without doing anything to any of these drains that are not on maintenance, and now they're all deteriorating, breaking down, and we get calls, and they're upset because it's a regulated drain, but we can't do anything because it's not on maintenance. It's just happening more and more over my, 2 years that I've been here, it's just more and more frequent that we're getting these not on maintenance drains.
If we collect maintenance, like, say we do work on the main artery, we would collect and bill Noble County for, since it's a joint drain. But if we did work on a lateral, maybe we collect DeKalb County and not notify Noble County to collect. I don't know if we can do that, you know?
That was my thought.
Yeah, I was thinking, do we just collect for the DeKalb side that year?
Or can we have a separate rate for our DeKalb side, right? Like, can we, even though it's a joint drain, can we leave Nobles at this, we have a DeKalb only, to where like at the DeKalb line, everybody in DeKalb County, they're paying a little bit increased rate from that agreement, but we can include the whole system.
Well,
I don't know. I guess if we
sounds-
probably would still have to have Noble agree, because it's still be coming out of that joint account, but DeKalb's
Comes
paying.
out of that account, Noble County has the right to
Right,
urinate it.
yeah. But maybe we could convince them, since DeKalb's gonna pay additional, that would be the trade-off to allowing those laterals to be maintained.
It may have, I mean, that was over 20 years ago, maybe
Right.
times have changed, and you don't
board?
have some of the landowners that we had to have the sheriff there for the hearing.
Yeah, it wasn't pleasant.
It was not pleasant.
No, from reading through the hearing, it didn't look or sound pleasant. There was probably like 40 objections filed or something. It was
It was my first big hearing.
it looked like something.
Don't, sitting on the DeKalb Steuben board, don't we, excuse me, yeah, both counties are accepting and in this case, but even the last hearing we had, you know, setting the rates, it says Steuben collects for Steuben, DeKalb collects for DeKalb. We're already doing that, aren't we?
And they are already doing that, but the thing that the Noble County people were not realizing is, they're like, we don't want to pay for maintenance of a DeKalb, because most of the Frank Yard was in DeKalb County. So we were like, we'll just build a dam and see how you like it type deal, right, is what you want to say. But they just, they just didn't want to, they could not get it out of their head that they were paying for DeKalb County drain. So, yes, you're right, that's what happens. So Noble County, to this day, if we collect the Frank Yard, pays whatever their.
The big holdup, I think, too, during that was Noble County was already on maintenance. So on their side of the county line, they were paying to that drain, but then it came into DeKalb and it was not on maintenance.
Wasn't it used to be called Little Cedar Creek?
It was referred to both, yeah, the Ed Haynes, and it was referred to
They
as
never
Little
wanted to
Cedar.
Touch it way back in the day.
Yeah, so I think Little Cedar was more so referred to on the south end of the county, where the Frank Stingray comes over. So Frank Stingray comes from the west on the other side of State Road 3, down around like County Road 68. So that's also like a joint lateral that comes to the Frank Yard. And so that had kind of the same issues with it. So they were already paying on the Noble side. DeKalb wasn't. DeKalb's like, well, we got to maintain this. You're putting all your water on us. We have to keep it flowing. But they didn't like that. So here we are.
I guess I'd be in favor of making another run at it with Noble County. Can't hurt.
Okay.
Set up a joint meeting.
Who's on that board from here?
From here?
Noble County?
Who's on? We haven't had a
Steve
meeting.
and I think.
I'm perfectly fine with it.
I'll send Steve in.
Okay. I mean, Jim and I got the whole Terry Lake thing up there. I don't want to take
Tougher
on
than me. I'll have him.
Steve's the closest to
off.
Noble.
Yep. Okay, well, maybe we can meet with them, discuss that. what about like some of our, DeKalb only systems, right? We don't have to worry about Noble, just us. Any not on maintenance, like laterals that we come across for a parent drain?
So what, I guess, do you have a recommendation on size or?
We could, the only thing I was thinking of is that we could go, if we had like a dollar amount per acre, you know, so if say it was a 100-acre watershed and we went off of like the basic cost of it and it would only collect like $1,500, well, that's not gonna work. I mean, you're not gonna be able to maintain that. So like, I don't know if it's that small, if it's under like so much collection a year to just include it with the parent drain. And then if it actually could collect like 5,000 a year and it would be enough to do it and collect it, then you can make it its own. There's a couple ways you could look at it, like on, you know, a money threshold or an acreage threshold or.
Yeah, cause I mean, you could set the maintenance rate at $50 an acre and have people complain about the rate, or you could make it $12 an acre and,
Be under,
you know, but,
never be able to.
yeah.
You can set up a criteria like that, but you also always have to have section 41 of the code if you're gonna combine anyway, to make sure it fits. It's kind of a broad definition. It's like that maintenance is I just had it up.
Okay.
Substantially similar.
These laterals are already paying into the parent already?
They pay to the parent, yes, because their water gets there. But nothing's being covered on how their water gets there. So now the problem is, as those tiles break down that are not a maintenance, their water's not actually getting to where they're paying for their water to get to.
Or it's overland flow, which doesn't.
Yeah, they start getting,
farming.
they get a new ditch through their middle of their field or whatever.
Who doesn't want to?
But they're already paying into the main one that other people are getting benefited from their money. So to me, I'd almost be more willing to combine stuff if it falls within the code.
It seems.
Because I mean, they're paying into it without getting any benefit for it.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it for who knows how long.
Managing it wise, it's much easier when we go this way. When we start like zooming out, it's like this is a system we're getting funding for, and we can maintain as needed all the parts of the system, rather than when we get really small, we're like, this is its lateral, and here's the money for this one lateral, and it has $8,000, and it's like, that becomes a lot more difficult to maintain, so.
And it's more drain accounts, more stuff for assessments, more stuff for collections, does.
Yep.
Add more background.
So I would tend to agree with you there, Kellen.
Yeah,
that it
I'm more
becomes
about combining them into them if it fits the code.
Section 4.
Combining?
Combining them, yeah.
Thanks.
Because they're already paying into it, and if there's a reconstruction, they're gonna have to pay into it anyways. If, you know what I mean, and they're not getting any benefit from it.
Okay, that gives us some good direction. We can talk about it more. What do you got, Jim?
No, I was going to suggest that we set on this for 2 weeks because I would like Bruce to have input on this as well, since it's a big problem. But you do have a little bit of input there, and
Sure.
I'm leaning towards, let's put the laterals with the main drain, and that would make life easier, basically, as far as I'm concerned, with everybody. I guess I can live with Jim having to pay for doing a lateral that's gonna, on a main drain that's gonna help Steve, but not really me, because sometime down the road, my lateral, Steve's gonna have to pay to help me out. So in the, in the next 50 years, it probably would even out, but I would like to have this, myself, I think it would be fair to wait for Bruce to have a little input as well. Bring it up in 2 weeks if you could, please.
Yep, that sounds good.
You gentlemen agree?
Yeah.
Agree. I'll be next one, I'll be here. One after I won't be.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
And if anybody who ever wants to stop by the office to look at some of the different scenarios, we can go through the maps and whatever, look at numbers and everything else a little bit easier than we can.
Okay.
Here in the big group, so that'll work. Okay, that's all I have. That's our big things. We've been out there getting maintenance done, especially as the snow's all clearing off here and farmers are getting out and checking their fields, fixing blowouts that are occurring and everything going. So we've been busy doing that. You got anything?
Just on the EP Griffin on that outlet there, when we went and looked at it, we are allowed to dip the end of it, right, Shannon? It is outside of the wetland, I mean.
Turn that on, Troy, let's give it a
Is
whirl.
that a permit or no?
It's in between at the end.
talking.
There's a tree that fell down that's blocking some of the water, and there's some, I mean, it does.
Big sandbar.
Yeah, we could get it lowered maybe a foot, just by doing a little bit of maintenance there to help alleviate some of the issue to where we can actually see the outlet. And as it dries up here, I think we'll be able to get machine access to it. To make sure we don't.
Yeah, Army Corps, DNR, I don't know, whoever you need to ask.
That little section right there between green is where we want to, there.
See, it builds a sandbar right here because of the curve in the creek.
Yeah, and then there's a tree down like right there. You can see it.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't they make us truck away all this stuff, Troy, in the past, and we've?
When he did it, when it was in the flood.
It depends on where it's at, yeah. You have to, if it's in the flood area, you have to truck it out and dump it further up, elevation, but within the watershed. And then the problem becomes finding someone who will let you dump the dirt on their land within the watershed and, things like that. And there's some rules of like, single dipping, they can't,
You can't spill
Yes.
mud.
wheeled, not tracked, and yeah, there's all kinds of things like that you can't, because it becomes fill if it splatters and, yeah.
But like where it is in the floodplain, we really don't need to touch right now because that's all pretty deep. It's really that section that's outside of the green, and then it'd be, we have some money in the funds, maintenance, it'd be nice to try to, alleviate some of that so we can get some better shots on that tile and.
It's just a slow trickle coming out to Cedar Creek, because it's so built up with sand, it's just a slow trickle, and then that whole,
It'd be nice to just.
whatever it is, there's a little.
Corner here too.
Still running, right, Shannon? The DNR has to be involved if it's a complete dammed up situation.
Well, they have all kinds of rules, don't they, about wetlands, how you.
Yeah, the wetlands
How you can go in.
This is the part that's not in the wetlands.
Right.
That's the thing. Oh, I was
Well, but
usually
you
outside.
can't always go
Yeah.
by this map, correct?
Or they make it a wetland.
That's the approximate.
There we go, that's the spirit.
That's the problem.
Yep, that's,
And then if Cedar Creek classifies as navigable, then you have Army Corps
You have Army.
rules too that don't agree with.
That's all right, Steve said.
Yeah.
Yep, looking at this, like where that part's not not wetland there, like looking at different things for when we do the EP Griffin reconstruction on trying to redo that. Right now, where it comes out, it kind of hits that current in the other bank on the other side and creates a swirl. You can see it in the water, and that's why all that sand gets sedimented up there, and it blocks that from coming out. It just does a big swirl right there, and it collects all of that.
Yeah, we talked about cutting.
So we
Had
thought,
that dipped out within the last 10 years, right? So
Yeah.
whatever we did back then, or whatever, like notification, and then they just say, you're fine. Maybe is my recollection, or you're fine if you do this and this. I would just repeat whatever that was.
yeah, so eventually we do that reconstruction, we had talked about like moving that EP Griffin so it goes, the outlet is further to the south there. So it kind of, right down into that way. So it actually matches with the flow of the creek, and we have a better angle there. It doesn't create that swirling effect. I think that would help us on a little bit more proper outlet. Still yet to see the outlet at the head of the waterway there. Well, you can feel around down there a handful of feet and think maybe you hit it, but
Say that outlet's about 3 feet underwater at any given time, just because that open area is so full of water that it never drains.
Yeah, well, during a big rain event, that water comes up like to the road. I mean, that whole,
Yeah, the whole thing
that
fills.
whole thing that whole woods will flood out.
not an easy one. But we're still working on it, researching, trying to find different options, different avenues. But
Just don't want to get on the bad side of any of those alphabets, I'm telling you.
any of those alphabets? Yes.
Ben County was for years, and it did not go well. They'll just end up saying no to everything you want to do.
Yeah.
So better just to give them their deference when we have to,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could do a 360.
Probably would be wise. They love Cedar Creek. You say the word Cedar Creek and it's like revered in DNR at least.
Phoenix.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Ellen? Bill?
Have, a document that from the hearing from February 19th, I need the drainage board member to sign before you.
I'm good.
Good.
I'm good. Any
Use
other,
the restroom, I'll be right back.
any other item? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. We are adjourned.